Those buttons only work because they were installed in private. Back when you still believed family equals safe. You can feel it the moment you pull into the driveway and your shoulders climb up toward your ears. Picture a holiday meal. You are already carrying a work deadline in your head. Phone buzzing in your pocket. Trying to be pleasant. Someone leans in like they are sharing a joke and says one sentence that touches a scar you shared years ago in trust. Your face changes before you even choose it. A fork pauses mid-air. Somebody across the table looks over. That is the whole point. This is not nostalgia. It is a control panel. They press the button that gets the biggest reaction. Because your visible discomfort is the payoff. So, here is the first win. When your heart rate spikes, you do not explain yourself. No clarifying. No defending. No confessing. It will feel awkward. Like you are being rude. And that discomfort is a signal you are breaking the pattern. In a minute, I will show you how to spot the buttons and shut off the social fuel without starting a war. No explanations while activated only works if you can see what is happening in real time. The trigger ledger template starts with a simple idea that they are not recalling the past. They are testing buttons. And your body usually notices first. Weaponized intimacy is when a private detail becomes a remote control. You shared something real years ago, and it shows up on schedule when you are already thin, 10 minutes before guests arrive, the night before a deadline. It is not constant, which is why it is so easy to second-guess yourself. Watch for 3 tells. They ask personal questions right before other people enter the room. They save the sharpest comment for peak stress. And they watch your face more than your answer. Like they are collecting data. It can feel awkward to stop playing along. Like you are breaking an unspoken family rule. The next move is simple and practical. You map the exact buttons they keep pressing. Way 1. The trigger ledger. The trigger ledger template is where you map the buttons they keep pressing before they finish mapping you. Think of it like taking back the remote by writing down the exact sequence. You are in the kitchen. Someone is helping with dishes, and your sibling slides in with a casual line. Still doing that little job. You feel heat in your face. Your chest tightens. Your mind jumps to proving yourself. That surge is the button, not the truth. Here is the practice. After every interaction, you write 4 lines. What was the trigger? What exact words did they use? What urge showed up in you? Defend. Explain. Attack. Or shut down. What you chose instead. Even if it was messy. It can feel awkward at first. Like you are being dramatic. But you are just collecting clean data. Do this for 2 weeks and look for your top 3 repeat triggers. If the same themes keep showing up, you are looking at a deliberate control panel. Once you know the buttons, the next move is to stop giving them the electricity. Way 2. The social fuel cutoff. Your trigger ledger template shows you the buttons. The social fuel scale shows you the battery. Because provocation is a transaction. And your visible pain is the payment they came to collect. Someone brings up a failure from years ago with that little smirk. Remember when you failed that class? You feel the reflex to explain context. Defend your intelligence. Or fire back with something sharp. That reflex is exactly what makes the behavior worth repeating. So the move is simple and a little uncomfortable. You keep your face neutral. You take a slow sip of water. Then you give them one word that closes the deal without feeding it. Noted. And you redirect to something logistical or boring. What time are we eating? Do you want help with plates? How was the drive? It can feel fake at first. Like you are swallowing a reaction. You are not. You are removing the reward. After each interaction, score yourself on the social fuel scale from 0 to 3. 0 is neutral. No story. Know the fence. 3 is distress, plus explanations, plus argument. Cutting fuel works unless you react too fast. So the next tool installs a delay. Way 3. The 3-second break. The social fuel scale is only useful if you can slow your reaction long enough to choose a lower number. That is what the 3-second break is for. A tiny gap between what they say and what you hand back. You are standing near the counter. Someone is talking over you. And your sibling throws it out like a fact. You always were the sensitive one. Your body spikes. And your mouth wants to sprint ahead to explain, defend, or go sharp. Instead, you do one thing that feels almost too simple. You exhale fully, all the way out. You count to 3 in your head. Then you speak. Sometimes you say nothing. Sometimes you give a slow nod and say, maybe. The point is not the word. The point is the pause. At first, it will feel awkward, like you are letting them win. You are not. You are taking control of the lever. Track your reaction latency in your trigger ledger. Start with 3 seconds, then build to 5, then 7. Once you can pause, you need one clean boundary sentence that ends the hunt. Way 4. The non-confessional boundary. The 3-second break buys you space. Privacy is power uses that space to stop the data leak. Because, if they cannot get new material, the control panel cannot update. You are in the living room. A couple people are nearby, and your sibling lowers their voice like it is concern. So what happened with your relationship? Really? Your body wants to smooth it over, to give context, to prove you are fine. That urge is the trap. You answer in a way that gives them nothing to work with. I am keeping that private. They may push. Wow. Okay. You do not fill the silence. You just say yeah. Calm. Like you are stating the weather. No reasons. No debate. No long speech that hands them extra handles to grab later. It will feel weird the first time. Like you are being cold. You are not. You are choosing who gets access to your inner mechanics. Track justifications in your trigger ledger. 0 is the goal. If they cannot get info directly, they will use timing. So the next tool blocks the holiday hit. Way 5. The peak stress shield. Privacy is power works best when you stop assuming the hit is random. The peak stress shield is you admitting the timing is part of the tactic and planning like it is scheduled. You are in deadline mode. Taps open. Caffeine in your system. And a text drops in. Funny how you always mess things up. Your fingers hover over the keyboard, ready to fire back a paragraph. Instead, you do the boring move. No reply. You log it. You finish the task in front of you. That is you refusing to hand them free access during your weakest hour. Then there is the holiday version. Guests are arriving. Coats are piling up. And right as the room gets full, they try to pull you onto the stage. Tell them why you really moved back. You keep it clean. Not doing that. And you move your body to a safe role. You walk to the kitchen. Refill drinks. Help the host. You change the terrain. Before any high-stress event, pick one safe task plus one exit path. Score it after. Plan made. Yes or no. Exit used. Yes or no. Next, they will try intermittent kindness to reset access. So we install a filter. Way 6. Intermittent reinforcement detector. The peak stress shield handles the scheduled hits. But the intermittent reinforcement problem is sneakier. It is the nice moment that makes you doubt your own pattern recognition. Your sibling sends a soft message out of nowhere. I miss you. I am proud of you. You feel your guard drop. And part of you wants to reopen the whole door. Then the next day, they land the old jab like nothing happened. You are still pathetic about that. That swing is not random. It is a payout schedule. A slot machine does not pay every time. It pays just enough to keep you pulling the lever. That is the logic here. A sweet moment buys them access. Access lets them press buttons again. So, you shift from moment-based trust to pattern-based trust. One sentence does it. Show me consistency over time. You do not argue. You just move slower. To keep yourself honest, track your good to bad ratio for 30 days. If kindness shows up mainly after you set boundaries, it is likely a hook, not a change. When the hook fails, they recruit an audience. So we shut down the theater. Way 7. The audience denial move. Intermittent reinforcement often escalates into a performance because an audience turns your reaction into social fuel. Deny the stage is the move that removes the crowd and makes the whole play fall flat. You are at a family gathering, and the volume shifts on purpose. Your sibling says, loud enough for 3 people to hear. Tell everyone about your panic attacks. It is not curiosity. It is a test to see if you will freeze. Explain. Or explode. You keep it clean. No. Then you pivot your body. Not just your words. You turn to someone else and ask a normal question. Hey, where do you want these plates? Or you pick up a task and move to the kitchen. The point is to break the spotlight without a speech. This will feel awkward, because silence makes people itchy and you might worry you look cold. Let it be awkward. Awkward is cheaper than handing over your nervous system. Your line is simple. We are not doing that here. Then redirect to a person or a task. Track stage refusals in your ledger. Each time you redirect without explaining. Next, they will escalate with guilt. And the answer is a short script that does not negotiate. Way 8. The guilt immunity script. Deny the stage usually triggers the next tactic. Guilt. The guilt immunity line is how you let them feel disappointed without making it your job to fix it. You step away from the spotlight and suddenly the tone turns wounded. So you think you are better than us now. That is bait disguised as hurt. If you defend, you are back on the hook. If you attack, you look like the problem. You keep it steady. No. Then you name your boundary without a lecture. I am protecting my peace. Short sentence. Calm delivery. Nothing to argue with. Here is the script you use when disrespect shows up, even wrapped in family language. I am not available for disrespect. You repeat it once, and only once. Then you disengage. Physically, if needed. Bathroom break. Step outside. Offer to help in the kitchen. Anything that ends the loop. It can feel harsh at first, like you are abandoning the relationship. You are not. You are refusing a role. Track your repeat count. 1 repetition, max. Then, exit. Last tool is closing the data leaks, so the control panel cannot update. Way 9. The leak audit. The guilt immunity line gets you out of the moment. The leak audit list keeps you from walking back into the same trap next week, because it closes the channels that feed their trigger ledger. Your sibling says, "I heard you are struggling again." Your stomach drops. Not because you are struggling, but because you did not tell them. Your mind goes straight to one question. Who told them? That is your signal that the control panel is being updated through side doors. Inner Citadel sounds dramatic, but it is practical. You choose who gets access to your inner mechanics, not who is loudest, not who is related, who is trustworthy. Here is the rule. Make a list of 3 people who get real updates. Everyone else gets weather level info. Busy week. Doing fine. Lots going on. Then stop. This will feel awkward if you are used to oversharing to keep the peace. Let it be awkward. Peace that requires leakage is not peace. Once a month. Do a quick audit. What did I share? With whom? Did it cost me peace? Now, let us kill the biggest myth that keeps people trapped in this cycle. Leak audit list means you stop handing out free access to your inner mechanics. Once you do that, a common trap shows up fast. The belief that one perfect explanation will finally fix it. You get cornered near the fridge, and they go gentle on purpose. Come on. Just tell me what happened. You start a careful speech, trying to be fair, trying to be understood. They smirk. Wait for the one vulnerable detail, then repeat it later at dinner like it is entertainment. That is not confusion. That is control. Understanding is not the goal. Control is. If your explanations are met with timing hits, public baiting, and that little satisfied look, you are in a behavioral test where your reaction is the reward. The Stoic move is less access, fewer explanations, fewer disclosures, fewer visible reactions. The next step is a short human moment to make this feel real in your own voice. Here is the moment the control panel became obvious. The comment was small, timed for maximum damage. Right before guests walked in, they said, "So how is that money problem going?" My throat tightened and I felt my face heat up. Instead of explaining, I used one line. "I am keeping that private." And I walked to the kitchen. The room stayed calm. That is what less access looks like in real life. It is awkward, but it works. The creator observation is the proof that this is workable. So keep the next step just as small. The 7-day firewall is a tiny test, not a personality makeover. And the goal is to stay consistent even when it feels awkward. Each day, use the 3-second break once, even if you remember it late. Use one non-confessional boundary one time. Then write one trigger ledger entry while it is still fresh and specific. Track 4 numbers. Fuel given from 0 to 3. Reaction latency in seconds. Justifications counted as 0 or 1. Leaks, yes or no. After 7 days. You are looking for one change. Fewer spikes and faster recovery. Then you take that data into the close and lock in the idea that privacy is power. Privacy as power becomes real when you stop trying to win the argument. If you are dealing with weaponized intimacy, the win is leaving with your nervous system intact and making your inner life harder to access. If you are running the 7-day firewall, drop the words "privacy is power" in the comments so you actually commit to the experiment. And if you want the next one, subscribe, because we will cover flying monkeys and family group chats, the quiet ways they recruit allies, and how to hold a line without escalating